Legendary rap group, female duo, trio, Salt-N-Pepa and Spinderella, been dropping music, dropping hits for years, but now they're fighting for their rights, their mechanical rights. Let's talk about it. They 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 talk about it. Welcome back to She Could Talk the Podcast. I'm your host, Ganga Lee. Hey, and that's Gangalee on all streaming platforms. If you want to check out my music, look for the glasses, look for the locks. You tell me if I can rap. Okay? But over here on YouTube, on She Could Talk the Podcast, this is where I react to everything. I react to news, sports, crimes, musicians, politicians, YouTubers, TikTokers. If they're talking about it, we're talking about it, okay? Okay. This is something that is near and dear to my heart because I am a musician. In particular, I am a musician in the genre of hip hop. I'm a rapper. In some circles, they'll call us a female rapper, female MC, whatever. If you rap, you rap. I don't care about the genre or the sexes. Okay? But this story is near and dear to my heart because as women in every field, let's face it, trying to leave your mark and leave your brand and your name, it's going to be people that fight against you, right? It's going to be people that be like, you know what? No. Especially if you're not selling cheeks. Okay? But this group right here is a group that we all know and love. They've been around for over 40 years or close to 40 years at this point. So that deserves a round of applause. Yes. They've been around over 40 years from Queens, New York. One is Jamaican, like myself. Shout out to Peppa. Salt, they're both from Queens, New York, and they've paved the way for female MCs, for Nicki Minaj, for Lil' Kim, for Lauryn Hill, for Ganga Lee. They paved the way for us, you know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, it was disheartening to hear that this is what they're fighting with right now. They're battling over their music rights. So, if you know, especially back in those days, a lot of people didn't read the fine print. I'm not saying they didn't, but it was designed for a lot of us artists to not read the fine print. Okay? So you look up and you see stuff like, oh, we'll own your music for 30 years, and then after that, you'll get it to buy it back, or it'll be, relinquished over to you. So you're thinking to yourself, like, okay, I do all this work, I get all this money, and then I could literally retire off of my music, right? I can retire, collect my residuals, even get licensing and branding for just things, as time goes on, right? You've heard this song talk about sex everywhere. You heard this song push it everywhere. Movies, commercials, So that's a lot of licensing, right? Come to find out it's going back to Universal Music Group, UMG, who owns their rights, right? But now they've passed the marker of when they can get it relinquished back to them, and it's still not being relinquished back to them. So now they're on a legal battle, or they're in a legal battle with Universal Music Group to regain their mechanical rights. So I came across this article on YouTube, my algorithms, and it was an interview with Salt-N-Pepa talking about what they're going through legally. So let's go through it, and I'll have some commentary along the way.
For 40 years, hip-hop icons Salt-N-Pepa have been pushing boundaries. Push it real good. From their confident lyrics about taboo topics. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. To their trend-setting fashion choices, the pioneering trio helped shape a new era of hip-hop by bringing a feminist attitude to the male-dominated genre. Each of you, one word to describe your journey.
A roller coaster.
Amazing.
More than you even thought it could be when you all
Yes.
started?
Yes. To be here from the 80s.
I agree.
From 85 to 2025.
Right.
Not many can say that.
No.
Amen.
Say that.
And let's give them a round of applause. From 85 to 25. My first album that I bought from Salt-N-Pepa was called Assault with a Deadly Pepper.
Come and give me some of that.
Yo, classic. I was in about I don't know, I think I was in about 5th grade, right? And you get your allowance money, you save up, and I wanted a salt with a deadly pepper. And my mom did not know what I was talking about. And she was like, what is going on here? But I was like, a salt with a deadly pepper. I need it. Go look that album up. That's a classic. Classic.
Now they're in a legal fight over it.
The record companies have been getting away with this for a lot of years, and it's time for us to fight for our rights.
In May, Salt-N-Pepa filed a lawsuit against Universal Music Group, claiming that UMG is refusing to allow them to exercise their so-called termination rights.
When you're an artist, in the beginning, you sign a contract saying that the copyrights will revert back to you after 35 years. And we've done all the things legally to get our copyrights back, but they're just refusing, so we had to sue them.
Yeah, it's the law.
Yeah.
That's what it really boils down to.
And that is a reason why nowadays people opt to be indie, you know, because direct to consumer, you can get your music directly to your audience. You can find your audience and directly cater to your audience, right? But then you cut out the middleman and you don't have to worry about things like this as long as you have all your ducks in a row. Okay, because it's one thing to just say I'm throwing out music, dropping music, but then there's another thing to have all your ducks in a row as you do so, because it would pay in the end. You know, sometimes it may not be up front, but you just never know when that right song might get picked up, licensed, or whatever, and just change your life. You know, and that's for all of us. I'm speaking it into ether for all of us. But yeah, this is disheartening. They said after 35 years, they were supposed to be able to get their rights back to their music, basically meaning their publishing. They would get all of their money, their mechanical, money. No, they're just holding it hostage at this point. But let them continue.
The pair saying UMG has removed some of their biggest hits from streaming platforms.
It just keeps us from re-releasing our music, promoting it, our own music anywhere, else.
Our fans don't get to hear it, and they're complaining. They're like, where's the music? They're not on Apple or Spotify.
UMG has filed a motion to dismiss the lawsuit. In it, they claim that Salt-N-Pepa can't exercise their termination rights in part because they weren't the ones who signed the contract.
We are the artists, and the law is to protect the artist.
We didn't have that leverage. We didn't have that knowledge. We didn't have that control in the 80s. And so
to be held to a contract from 1985 and 40 years later, it's like ridiculous.
So let me fill in, and this is just my opinion, guys, from me knowing the history of Salt-N-Pepa. Let me fill in some of the blanks there, because you're like, well, if you didn't sign the contract in 85, who did, right? Well, there was a producer, and he was very prominent in not only their career, Kwame. It was like a flower power movement of rappers in the late 80s, early 90s, and they were all produced by Herbie Lovebug, Azar, I believe is his last name, or Azure. And I believe he's Haitian American out of Queens as well. But Herbie Lovebug, right? So Herbie Lovebug, all of them actually worked at a job together. Herbie Lovebug was a music producer, and he said, hey, look, I want to put together a rap group, a female rap group, blah, blah, blah. And he got these two who worked with him, Salt-N-Pepa, to do the group. Then Spinderella was brought in. It was the original Spinderella was underage at the time, so she couldn't travel and tour, if I'm not mistaken. And guys, correct me if I'm out there, because I'm friends with the original Spinderella on Facebook and stuff, and I see she's still active, still a DJ. Salute to you, the real Spinderella. Salute to DJ Spinderella as well, because she is a notable DJ. Now, and I think I might be getting them wrong. I think I'm getting them wrong. So the Spinderella that we see here was underage at the time, so she had to get special permission, parental permission, to travel and tour. And the original Spinderella, for whatever reason, did not ultimately go over or roll over into the group when they became famous, right? So there was always that controversy about who's the original Spinderella. But the mastermind behind the whole group was Herbie Lovebug. He was the producer. So he also wrote a lot of the music, the raps, and produced it. And if we go back to the beginning,
obviously something.
Let me see where I'm at. 239.
They want to keep it.
I want to go back to the beginning because he's in here. You're going to see him. right around here, because this is like the classic. He produced this song. Listen, let me see if you can hear.
From their
Oh,
confident
they might
lyrics.
have. Let me see. Boom. Let's go back a bit, because this is Herbie Lovebug right here. I don't know if y'all see my mouse. My mouse right there. And you see he's the guy with the microphone. He's like, dance, I safe. You know the song, that's him on the lyrics. You see he has the keyboard, the ding, ding, ding. Like he played all of that out. He was the producer. Shout out to Herbie Lovebug. Because Herbie Lovebug did a lot. You know, he's one of those producers that I feel like a lot of people sleep on. You know, and he was a prominent and played a prominent role in hip hop in the 80s, 90s. You know, he had us on the dance floor. So shout out to Herbie Love. For real. But he is the mastermind behind Salt-N-Pepa. And he was the one that leveraged and negotiated the deals with Next Plateau, Universal Music Group, whomever, right? And the mechanical rights and licensing, if I'm not mistaken, was, a deal made between the label and the producer, Herbie Lovebug, who, word on the curb, allegedly, because this is over 40-year-old T right here, so who alleges that Herbie Lovebug and Salt-N-Pepa Salt from Salt-N-Pepa were in a relationship at the time in those early days when they were coming up. So then that could also further lend to your being like, this is my guy, we're going to be together forever, I rap, he does the music, and we're going to form this power couple. It didn't stay that way. So you don't know what other type of feelings became involved as to why the mechanical rights have not been, evenly dispersed. Now, to coming back up a little bit further here, do you guys remember when they had the Salt-N-Pepa Lifetime movie, I believe? And you notice how in that movie, none of their songs, original songs, were played. Even if you listen here, it's altered a little bit, right? Like none of the songs were in the show, in their story, because they didn't own the rights to it. Herbie did. And Herbie said he did not want to be portrayed any kind of way, and his songs will not be used. So let's continue.
On to it, and they're trying to fight us. So obviously they understand what's the worth of that.
Why isn't DJ Spinderella part of this suit?
Well, when we first started Salt-N-Pepa, it was just the two of us. So this particular contract is about the beginning, the first time we signed. So yeah, but Spinderella is still down with us.
She supports us. She just understands she wasn't a part of the lawsuit, but she has given us our support, to fight for that.
Just being women in this industry, it's a constant fight. A fight to be heard, a fight to be respected.
You only live once and you're not coming
Hey,
back.
this was one of my
So
favorites.
express yourself, yeah.
Salt-N-Pepa
That
were the
was my
first all-women
favorite.
rap group to go platinum, earn a Grammy, and achieve global
Look at that.
success.
Excuse us while we rap. Go ahead, girls, express yourself.
Hey.
And now they're gearing up to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, becoming the first hip-hop act to receive the Musical Influence Award. What does it mean to you?
Well deserved.
Everything. It's amazing feeling because it's directed to music.
Right.
It's for your music, not
Facts.
just one hit. It's about your journey, your legacy, what you have done, the influence that you had. So 40 years and we're still here.
So it's appropriate that Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, that we are another first. And we're really excited. It's just amazing because these are the things you want in your career, right? These accolades are just like solidifying that we did the darn thing,
Exactly.
When it's all said and done, what do you want to be said about Salt-N-Pepa?
Those girls fight. They real. They fight for their rights, for our rights, for women's rights, and nothing fake. What you see is what you get.
And I want to inspire and encourage women to be themselves, to go for it, and to not be afraid to knock down barriers in the workplace, in the world, whatever you're doing, like just be strong.
And that they are. They are so true to themselves, very authentic. And this isn't the first time that Salt-N-Pepa has taken on the music industry. They joined with other artists in 1989. Remember LL Cool J, we had Will Smith. They boycotted the Grammys over the Grammys' decision to not televise the newly created rap category. Once again, leading the way. You remember that time.
Game changers. They were at MTV and
I remember that. I remember that. That was 1989. Picture it. The Grammys, 1989. They just, for the first time, added hip hop as a category, a recognized genre and category. Okay, so everyone's hyped. Salt-N-Pepa was in the was nominated. Will Smith was nominated. Eric B and Rakim were nominated. So it was big. And being a kid from New York, to hear that, oh man, the hip hop is, gonna have a category at the Grammys, we're sitting in front of the TV. We're ready, right? Only to be disappointed and to see that they did that off camera. Now, I've attended the Grammys over the years, and I will tell you this. What you see on TV is only a portion of the Grammys. Okay? It's only a portion. And you see how long that is? Literally, you gotta get dressed, black tie affair, like 8:30 in the morning. No BS. Then your driver picks you up, etc. You got to go through, photo shoot, and it's this for everyone, from this littlest indie artist like myself all the way up to Beyonce and whoever else. Okay, it doesn't change. The criteria does not change for anyone in this process. Then you go through, red carpet, publicity, taking pictures, interviews, etc. Networking, telling people who you are. You got to do all this before you even get in. Then you get in, there's like a little, wine, cheese and wine, and you wait to be seated. When you're seated, you're sitting through literally about 6 to 8 hours worth of awards being given out, because there's world genres, international, educational, different countries, that are recognized. Oh man, books, novels, audibles, all that type of stuff is being done. You won't see those, right? As the Grammys, the portion that's televised, as it plays, you'll see them say, oh, early in the night, Gongoli received an award for Best New Single for International Hip Hop, right? Hey, just speaking that into existence, right? But that category was not filmed for TV. Right? And it's still to this day a lot of categories that you won't see on TV, right? Could be evolution and newer, etc. But in '89, hip hop was one of the newer categories that were added, and they didn't televise it. Understanding what I understand now, I know that a lot of categories are not televised. But back then, it was just like a blow, a chink to our armor that you did not highlight hip hop, because that's our genre. You know what I'm saying? And that was a milestone, a history-making moment for us. And shout out to Will Smith, because he won that year. But he also boycotted it. So he did not go to the Grammys. He was out there on the rooftop. I believe they were like either all in New York somewhere, but they were kind of on the rooftop filming their own like Grammy celebration. And they was like, we all winners out here. I remember this to this day. And it was all of them. Will Smith, Salt-N-Pepa, all of them. Big Daddy Kane, all of them were out there. And they had like their own Grammy watch party and was like, celebrating Will Smith's win and celebrating the win for hip hop. I remember it. Okay? Now, Mama's a little older, so I ain't saying I'm remember verbatim, but I remember the time, okay? So that coupled with what I know now, having been to the Grammys, and having been through that whole process, I understand, why. It's just so many categories. Something is going to be not televised, but if you're there in the moment, I guess that's where you really appreciate it, because you're only seeing a third of what really takes place on the actual show. So so I remember when they boycotted that. That was just a fun fact there.
everywhere else in the music industry, Robin.
I think people forget just how they broke into the scene and they just took over. But I did have a little fun. I did have a little fun with them. I had to ask them this question. Just give me a little something. What you got?
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Here I go again, girls. What's my weakness?
Men. Okay,
Pizza.
then.
It ain't men no more. That is
Alright.
Please tell me you're gonna use that.
I was
Let me see. Let me go back and see what they
Girls,
said.
what's my weakness? Pizza.
I know that's right. I know that's right. But and look how she pointed at her like pizza, so they must be trying to get back on track. Now, I seen them live recently. If you get an opportunity to see Salt-N-Pepa on tour, please do so. Because as an artist, I'm here to tell you, people think like, oh, I played your song one good time. That's literally like 1 cent. People will see your stuff and see the work you put into it and believe like, oh, you're rich because it looks so great. It sounds great. You have to be rich. But they don't see the blood, sweat, and tears that you put into this, the discipline you have to put into it. You know what I'm saying? So even with her joking about pizza, you could see, look at Peppa. Peppa's slim. Salt was always the baddie. She was always the baddie. She's still beautiful. But they probably are going back out on tour. That's why she was like, pizza, that's my weakness. Because she got to get back on track. But at the end of the day, I thought this was beautiful that they're still together over 40 years throughout the turmoil, the ups and downs, the record labels, the bad contracts, etc. They're still here. So if they ever show up in your town and they are on tour, support them, ladies, and go see the show. It's affordable prices too. Support them. Support your local artists too. Play their song. If they have a show, go out and support them. Buy their merch because people think, oh, you got a record deal, you've made it. And you'll be surprised that some artists you live worse than people that work a regular 9 to 5. That's why I say it, and I say it all the time. You got to have multiple streams of income, right? Because one thing may look glamorous, but it's not. So you got to be prepared for everything. I say, prepare for the worst, hope for the best, right? And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hope for the best with Salt-N-Pepa on this Grammy. I mean, not this Grammy, on this lawsuit here. Hope that there's some type of common ground that's met, and hopefully Herbie Lovebug could come out and kind of soften his heart, and kind of, because I feel like he's the missing link for this whole situation here. And then once he kind of gets on board and get everything squared away, or get some amicable resolution between producer and artist, I think then they can collectively go forward and collect the mechanical rights that are due to the ladies, as well as perhaps even Herbie. Who knows, right? But I'm gonna leave y'all there. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Is Salt-N-Pepa legends? I think they are. I truly believe they are. Do you think that this is disheartening that they have to be fighting for their rights after 40 years? Like, this should be their retirement seed, right? They should be relaxing and counting that retirement money, right? What do y'all think about that? Do you think that artists have it easy? I'm here to tell you it don't, but I just want to hear your opinions. You know what I tell you to do? Join me in the comments. And before I leave, you know what I'm saying? I have to hit you with the motto, hit you with the brand. If you like anything I do, tell a friend. If you don't like anything I do, tell a friend. And from my lips to your ears, I love you, but I need you to love me, okay? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Turn on your notifications. Hit the like button. Thumbs up, thumbs down. It helps either way, right? And then join me in the comments. Don't meet me there. Beat me there, all right? And until next time, it's your girl Gongali. It's She Could Talk the Podcast. And I'm out. Peace.
They talk about it. They talk about it. They talk